Hi, this is Asim.
This is Sujoy.
This is Amrita.
And you're listening to Khandaan, a Bollywood podcast about the three main Khans of the Hindi film industry:
Amir,
Salman,
And Shara.
Hi, you're listening to Khandaan, a Bollywood podcast regular feed. Thank you so much for your support over the years. We now have a Patreon channel with bonus content and exclusive merch for those of you who would like to support us. Every dollar goes towards creating more and better content. Visit us at patreon.com/Khandaan podcast.
Hi and welcome to a new episode of Khandaan Podcast. My name is Asim Bernie and I'm joined with my lovely co-hosts Amrita and Sujoy. Hey Amrita, hey Sujoy.
Hey everybody.
Hello.
Back with a new episode. We're talking about a few things. I think our main review this episode is going to be Devara.
Devara.
Yeah, part one. And a few other news and things that kind of happened. I think first topic, I guess, is the Oscar nominations from India, right? There's a bit of controversy online, it feels, because LAAPATA ladies got sent. And I think a lot of people were hoping it was going to be All That We Can Imagine Is Light. Is that how you... That's
All
the
That
name of
We
it?
Imagine as Light, yeah.
Yeah, All That We Imagine as Light. So... yeah, I just wanted to kind of talk about that. Like, I think I find it an odd conversation to have because I felt Lapata Ladies is a very good pick, to be honest. But I think there's a few factors people are complaining about. A is that All That We Imagine Is Light has one can. It's not kind of a film from Bollywood royalty, I guess, like, you know, the Khans and Amir. Although I do feel it's kind of an unfair comparison because it's like Amir didn't make this movie. He's not in it. He's not involved, like production. I think Kiran Rao probably, I think even she split up her company from him, didn't he? Like, I don't think
Yes, but he produced it. He is
did
the producer.
produce it? Okay.
Yeah, he's the producer for
Yeah.
LAAPATA Ladies.
Yeah, but he's very much on the background, but I feel that hate is coming on Kiran Rao and it feels like an odd conversation because it takes away her creative input and it's her movie. It's not Amir's movie. And then there's also seems to be some kind of upper caste, lower caste thing going on, which I don't understand that much. But what did you guys think of A, LAAPATA Ladies being picked, and B, about the conversation that is happening about LAAPATA Ladies being nominated? Amrita, you want to go first?
I think more than there's like multiple levels to this, right? Like one, every time, like at some point after it released, there's this. Do you know the director Anand Mahadevan?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Jesse stole the idea, he was saying, right?
Yeah, he's like convinced that Kiran Rao like plagiarized his work, and literally the only thing that she quote unquote plagiarized is that, you know, Anand Mahadevan made this movie that literally nobody has ever heard of, in which there's like these two women who wear like ghungats and then get swapped as brides. Like, and after that, it's two completely different movies, even by his own admission. But he, I guess, is just like riding the coattails of this movie to every single podcast out there.
Is he
And if-
suing her or is he just saying it? Right.
Even
He's
he
just
knows
making,
that he
right.
has no legs to stand on. But like, obviously, there's Kiran Rao has a nice little following of haters online because, you know, they've never gotten over the fact that she married Amir Khan and that she was the one who originally said, you know, that she didn't see her family thriving in India anymore after a certain point, given that she was raising like a half Muslim kid. And they've always like hated her. And of course, she's like she's a bohemian artist with short hair, and like she dares to like marry a Muslim man and, you know, just have, you know, kids with him, etc. And it just like really confuses them, and they're just really angry about her all the time anyway. So a lot of them have just cottoned on to this idea that she's a idea thief. And so anytime anyone talks about LAAPATA Ladies, they're just like, oh, you know, she stole this from Anand Mahadevan. And it is such stupidity, like incredibly stupidity. And On top of that, now you have this whole like nepotism debate where people are just like, oh, she only got it because it was Amir Khan's movie. Geo is the producer of this film.
Mm.
Like, you cannot, you like, you cannot tell me that Amir Khan has more pull on who is the official Indian entry for the Oscars than like the Ambanis,
Right.
because the Ambanis have like a whole like this is their big push, right? Like they have been like Nita Ambani has invested heavily into the film industry.
Right.
That is her entire game plan. That's why like a lot of like celebrities that who've probably never even met the Ambanis before were invited to their son's wedding. Like there's a reason why they get papped now, why they're on the gossip pages. Like it's a very deliberate thing, and there is nothing the Ambanis would love more than having one of their productions get nominated for an Oscar. Like that is definitely going to be something that they're going to throw money at. And l- whether we like it or not, the kind of movies that get nominated at the Oscars, there's a big deal about, finances.
Yeah.
Who has the money to pay for the PR and for like, the visibility. Because there's a whole bunch of movies that get nominated for the international feature, and a lot of them are deadly dull. At
Mhm.
least Lapata Ladies is not a dull movie. It's a very cute movie. Is it problematic? Sure, but everything is problematic, isn't it? Um, with all that we see as light, or what all
All
that
we
we
imagine is
all
light.
we
All we
imagine as
imagine is
light, the people who are like really angry about it not being nominated do have one point, which is that Lapata Ladies, when it arrives in Hollywood, it's going to be starting at point zero because nobody knows what it is. And people are going to be, you'll have to like build the awareness, you'll have to like really campaign for that movie. Whereas for Payal Kapadia's movie, everybody already knows what that is because it won Cannes. And all the American reviewers love that movie.
Mm.
So you don't have to convince anybody that this is a good movie. Like it's like when I remember being in the United States when Lagan was nominated for an Oscar, and it was entirely driven by the fact that all the reviewers loved that movie. It was very much a critic-driven nomination. People were like the New York Times reviewers, the THR reporters, like all of them loved Lagan, and there were like in extended features in Variety and the Hollywood Reporter and stuff like that. And this is back in the day when, Indian features weren't getting featured like that. Um, and that's what Payal Kapadia would have gotten without a doubt. And I have no doubt in my mind either that the only reason why Payal Kapadia's movie didn't get nominated is because Payal Kapadia is not entirely a big fan of the current government in India.
Mm.
So there's definitely like wheels within wheels.
Right. So you have seen All
Yeah.
We Imagine. You can't talk about it yet because you're still
Yeah.
under press embargo.
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts about Lapata Ladies being nominated?
Yeah, so there are a few like moving parts in the whole conversation. Why Lapata Ladies got nominated, as Amrita said, there's the push from Geo. It's also on Netflix. It's easily accessible for people to watch when it eventually goes for the like it's India's entry to get nominated as the best international feature, and obviously like from a film perspective as an audience, I like what I saw in All We Imagine as Light is it's a very critics movie. It's not necessarily
Popular,
it's
like
not necessarily
mass,
a
yeah.
popular audience like
Crowd pleasing.
crowd pleasing movie. It's not a wholesome entertainer in a way, and I don't know how that eventually plays out to a wider the members of the Academy, how they vote. If they are going for that exotica, that this little movie from India which has joy and a nice ending and everybody's happy in the end, then I guess Lapata Ladies should be the movie that they go for. But also at the same time, if you look at the selection committee from FTII, or from the Film Federation of India, or whoever nominated the board members of that selection committee, they are all men. And All We Imagine Us Light is a very, very woman-centric story. It's a migrant story of these three women who come together in this, like, it's their sort of story over the course of a couple of months and their struggles. And there isn't necessarily a nice bow that ties them together at the end. It's very open-ended. It's very much about systemic oppression, the migrants' struggle in Mumbai, and all of that. And balancing the two, it's very different worlds that these movies are trying to explore. Very two different Indias, as someone would say. And yeah, having seen them both, I think Lapata Ladies is probably the wiser choice, but also I see the strings being pulled to make that happen. I don't know which one is fair.
I think we shouldn't hold Oscars in such a high regard anyway.
Yes.
I don't give a shit about the Oscars, and I hate this conversation that it happens every year.
Yeah.
I don't think necessarily the movies that are sent are the good choices or the popular choices, and they've got it wrong so many times, so I don't even know why you expect it to be right this time. The most important point is the one that Sujoy made, is that Lapata Ladies is on Netflix, and people are lazy, and if Netflix is going to start pushing this, like if it's now nominated, it will be in front of you, like before the Oscars are starting. Netflix will be pushing this, and I think just the fact that you don't have to put a screener in or a link in, and you can just switch on your Netflix, and if you are a Academy voter, I think that's a much bigger pull for people to make them watch it than a Cannes winner from whatever year. I don't think it holds that much weight, Cannes, as an award for Oscars. So I think that is like the biggest. I loved Lapata Ladies. I don't understand the criticism. I don't understand like a lot of the things people are saying. Like suddenly it's not a good movie, when literally everybody that has watched it, that I've recommended it to, be it white, be it brown, be it whatever, they've all come out and said they love this movie. So it's a crowd pleaser. So then, beside that, you might have issues with the Amir Khan or with Kiran Rao and things like that. But I think she made a really, really strong movie, and I'm hoping that she can make more movies. And please, guys, Oscars are shit, man. It's a terrible award. It's like the IFA for white people, like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all.
I mean, if you say it like that, nothing really matters. We're all gonna die. But when it comes to celebrating movies, I guess it's the highest honor that a filmmaker can get in the world that we live in. So that's why the accolade, like, it's been the longest running movie celebration, I suppose. In that way, it is the highest reward that a filmmaker can get, and that's why it still holds in a way.
And also just the fact that India has never won one, which is again like a criticism of the Oscars. Like it's like the longest running industry with producing the most movies, and barely we've had movies that have been nominated or gotten close to it, right? That is the absurdity of the Oscars. And it's not about wanting the right mix or the right movie or the right push for it. It's the Oscars do not want to give an Oscars to Indian movies. I think that's the bigger issue on my end.
I mean, it's an American award show.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah. But yeah, that's probably why people wanted more, I guess, right? Let's talk about something that definitely won't be going to the Oscars, but he's dropped. I want to talk about Ranbir Kapoor's forthcoming movies. I think this big news bombshell dropped that he's going to be acting in Dhoom 4, which is going to be a reboot.
And he's going to play the bad guy, apparently.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And the duo of Abhishek and Uday Chopra are not going to be coming
Are
back.
gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And everybody's bringing up the Farah Khan clip from, is it Tismar Khan, I think? Yeah. Or is it Om Shanti
No,
Om?
no, Om
It's
Shanti
Om Shanti Om.
Om.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
from
yeah.
the award show.
Right. That, she knew that this was going to happen and this and that. And also, I think he's got he's got Love and War coming with SLB with Sanjay Leela Bhansali. Then he's got Ramayan 1 and 2. Then Dhoom 4. And then Animal Park.
Which is actually happening. I thought, well.
It's gonna happen. They're gonna be sweeping awards. They made a ton of money. Why would they not? So it's kind of like a big news story that dropped. What do you guys, Sujoy? What do you think of Ranbir and Doom 4? And what do you think of Abhishek and Uday not coming back?
I'm not a fan of either of those. It doesn't really make any difference to my life. Like, these movies are, gonna get released till 2026. I don't know what I'm going to be doing in December 2024. So it's like, Ranbir is making future plans. Good for him. Like, I will be there if I'm alive. I'll be going to the cinema to watch these movies. But nothing of this slate excites me. Love and War, Ramayan 2, Dhoom 4, Animal Park. Like, is this the kind of movies that we are going to be seeing from Ranbir Kapoor, like the big torchbearer of the future of Bollywood for the next 4 years, 3 years, whatever? I'm like not impressed.
The Doom 4 franchise for you is what the Oscars are for me. You don't care. It's irrelevant.
I get it now when you compare it like that.
Oh, okay. Amrita, what do you think of this announcement and of this slate?
I mean, I'm looking forward to Love and War. That's pretty much.
Who's he acting opposed? Who's his co-stars then? Do we know this
Vicky
already?
Kaushal and Alia Bhatt. And it's going to be a remake of Sangam, basically.
Oh.
All of that makes me less excited too. Everything you've said in the last 30 minutes has been more and more disappointing.
So Vicky Kaushal is playing Rajendra Kumar, basically, right?
Okay. Yes.
Will there be a Katrina item song to lure in Asim to the cinemas?
Yes.
I don't. Yeah, that is literally the only thing that I am interested in from his forthcoming slate. Yeah, I mean, somebody on Twitter made a good point. They were like, who in their right minds is going to take the roles of Abhishek Bachchan and Uday Chopra, because those are the two most thankless roles in Bollywood, where you're just playing those loser characters who never get the bad guy, basically. So
because the bad guy is the star in the Doom movies, right? And
so who's gonna sign up for those two?
The Changu Mangu from the new Ishq Vishk venture, I guess.
I guess.
Yeah. I think this is coming out in 2025, so that gives Yash Raj at least 2 years to look for a very high place from where Ranbir Kapoor will drop down and die, because that's literally what every Dhoom movie is. Like, the bad guy just drops and dies and disappears. I don't know. For me, it makes sense. I don't think it would have made sense to have Abhishek and Uday back. I don't think they can make that work in any way, shape, or form. They're not in the place they were in their career when this movie started. Neither career-wise, neither physically. It just would look odd.
Yeah.
I like the kind of energy Ranbir is bringing. You need that big of a name. You need like a Ranbir or a Shah Rukh or something to get this franchise going. And this is what Yash Raj is into now. They want to create now these franchise movies. It's pretty much like, they used to make Laga Chunri Mein Daag and Mujhse Friendship Karoge in between the bigger ones. But now they just seem to be making, something in, what's the last one? Jabadiya Jodi, and the one that...
Jayesh Bhai Jordar.
Those J movies broke something in Yash Raj, and they're like, we're not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
Done. Let's just do War and Pathan and Doom and get our money back, I got a press release that Aditya Chopra is doing a play in Manchester. I was like, wow, working with Ranveer really breaks you, man. It's like मैं जा रहा हूँ Manchester, London भी नहीं, Manchester. Who the goes to Manchester? Yeah,
It is
depressing.
DDLJ the musical, by the
Yeah,
way.
DDLJ the musical with an Americanized version of cinema. Maybe he's that Tom Cruise idea he had. He's kind of revisiting with some third-rate character from Bridgerton or like EastEnders or something like that. I don't know.
बना के ही रहूंगा गोरों के साथ.
कहाँ भागेंगे गोरे? Can I say I'm actually most excited for the Ramayan movies? Like it's like that. I'm quite interested in it because Sai Pallavi's in it. I think that might like if they make like a good version of it, and I think the team around it is interesting, right? It's the guy from what's his name? Bloody hell, what's that name with the
Nitesh
Chichore?
Tiwari. Yeah,
Dangal, right?
Dangal.
Yeah. And unfortunately, the Auschwitz movie. But hopefully he can do something on a grand scale. Would be fun. Like I've not seen a version that's been really cool. And if they shoot it at the same time, that both are in the can, it's not like like a maybe we're gonna get a second one and stuff like that. That would be cool if they shoot it like Lord of the Rings. SLB, I've never been like a huge fan necessarily of his stuff, and nothing I've seen in the last few years has convinced me otherwise. Doom 3 is just going to be a fun thing. Animal Park, I mean, it could be. I think we were always like positive about Animal, just generally in comparison to a lot of other reviewers out there. So let's see where that goes. I think Vanga is doing another movie in between, though, right? If I'm not mistaken, I don't know who he's working with.
But amongst all this, where did Brahmastra go?
Gone, man.
That's never getting made.
That's never making.
Like
They're not making
Karan
that.
Johar just sold half his company because he's broke from making Brahmastra. Like that's not gonna happen.
And Ayan is now with Yash Raj, right? He's making one of the war movies and stuff like that. So I think that one's put to bed. It's like consider it Jagga Jasoos, like just forget it. It's not gonna happen. Yeah.
That's sad. That just broke my heart.
Yeah. Shiva. One more thing that happened, the Hollywood Reporter, or still I feel it should have been called the Bollywood Reporter, has released their first, and I'm so happy for all of our friends that they got like gainfully employed again. Like I'm so happy. You are the only one that saw the first thing that they dropped, right? So I know our friend Suchin has already done a video review of, I think, I'm not sure what he did. I just congratulated him. I didn't actually watch what he did, but I'm really happy that he did it. The influencer Bhuvan Bam show, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called. I'll search it up. But Amrita, you did a long video about on TikTok about the Off Script. It's called, right? The new show that they're doing.
Yeah, it's called Off Script. Yeah.
How was it? How was that first episode? Did you feel good again? Like all the usual things are back?
It was interesting because Anupama clearly has like a sense of who's gonna work for her panels and who isn't, and that's whom she invited to the show. Which immediately got like a whole bunch of people up in arms because they were like, why is Karan Johar on this panel? Why is Zoya Akhtar? Why is Mahesh Narayanan? At least Pa Ranjit was there because he had a movie out this year. But like all the others, like why were they there? And shouldn't they be like, like shouldn't we have like new voices, etc.? But I think Anupama Chopra knew exactly what she was doing. And she got this bunch of people together, and it was interesting because you really got a sense of how the movie business is so different across different industries. And I especially enjoyed Pa Ranjit in this interview because there's this point where he's trying to make a point and English is failing him. So he just seamlessly switches to Tamil and just continues. And it's not like a couple of words. He has like a full on monologue in Tamil. And at the end of it, and clearly like Anupama Chopra was expecting it because she immediately moves to Vetrimalan and says, can you translate? And it was just really interesting because I have seen this happen in reverse with Hindi a bunch of times where you'll have like an interview that is in English, and then the Hindi speaker will just start talking in Hindi, and the interview just keeps on going because everyone assumes that, oh, well, you know what that person is saying. So it was really nice to see Paranjit being afforded that sort of grace
Mm.
to express himself fully rather than limiting himself to a language in which he's not comfortable. So I really appreciated that. The other thing that I really appreciated was that he really said to Karan's face, because Karan is remaking one of the movies that Paranjit produced. Again, it's about like caste violence. It's like a love story, etc. And Karan is remaking that as Dhadak 2. And it was really funny because Karan is such a South Bombay Bollywood GV, and he's talking about, like, well, the amazing thing about the source material is the sense of hope that you get at the end, and that is so important. And in the middle of all this violence, and Paranjit was just like, no, like, people need to understand that caste violence is not is not an occasional thing, and that it happens all the time, and the gravity of that kind of violence, and you can't soft pedal it. You need to remake it in the same way. And a lot of people were calling out Karan for not being able to pronounce the original title in Tamil, etc. And it's not even like that difficult a title or anything, but I think it was valuable because there is no chance that, I don't know what the final product is going to be by the time Karan makes it. Um, but if it is something like what Dhadak was, where the remake was a much more mellow depiction of the kind of violence that we saw in the original, the Marathi original,
Yeah.
then there is no way that Karan can pretend that he didn't know how important that violence or how integral that violence was to the story, because
Mm.
Paranjit basically underlines it for him. And Vetrimaran also does it for him. Like they both like go head to head and explain it in words that an idiot could understand. So that was really valuable. And yeah, and then there was like a fun part where Zoya was yelling at Karan for paying people too much money and then complaining about it as if, like, somebody else took the money out of his account and paid it to people. So that was like really funny.
I saw
Dhadak 2
the
stars Tripti Dimri and Siddhant Chaturvedi, and
Yeah.
its
And
director is
it's
Shazia Iqbal.
and it's apparently going direct to streaming, like it's not even getting like a theatrical release.
Oh, wow. Okay. Sujoy, you were saying?
I saw the bit where they were sharing like insight into what part of filmmaking process they each liked the most and what part they hated the most, and like the answers from different like somebody really writes for the edit, so they love editing but hate the beginning of the process where they have to sit down and write for ages. And Zoya begins with writing and she loves writing, which is very different. I think Zoya hates dubbing the most. She, like, the whole dubbing bit after the movie is made, she just does not attend the studios or something like that. That was quite interesting to see the different. And Karan Johar loves like background scores, like
Oh, wow.
whole background score process after the movie is made and in the studio when they're adding that and how it elevates the scene.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I just enjoy listening to Zoya Akhtar and Karan
Yeah.
Johar talk about movies whenever it is. So I'm probably going to watch it, and I'm glad I'm glad THR is back. Like, Film Companion is back
In a
and
way.
I think it's pretty much one of the best things out there in terms of
Yeah.
Hindi film discussions. So could it be better? Yes. Could it be different? Yes. But it's the
But
best
who
we
else
have.
is doing it? Like,
Yeah,
could it
exactly,
be better? Is always a valid question. But who else is doing it?
Us, Just us. It's them and us. That's it, you know.
That's what I'm saying. Vanity Fair, please buy us.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I honestly believe it. Like, it's not even like a like offhanded jokey thing. Like, I really believe it. Like, it's this because I watch a lot of YouTube because we're doing things on YouTube. We're doing some video essays, so I have to watch more YouTube just to kind of figure out the medium a little bit more.
Yeah.
And it's shit. Like, most of it is really, really shit. Like, a lot
It's
of
mostly like Captain Obvious is making obvious points as this highly intellectual insight that they've gone into. Like, you know, that whole meme about what, and then you made another meme about that, you know, making obvious points about what Om Shanti Om actually meant. And all of that. It's just that. It's just that in like 10 minutes video forms.
Yeah. I mean, let us know if I'm missing somebody that I should be checking out. Please send me that at youpodcasting@gmail.com or social media, or, you know, Twitter and stuff like that. Because I'd like to know, maybe I'm missing out on some amazing genius person on talking about Hindi cinema that I've missed out on. But I can't tell you anybody like who else is good, you know, really. It's a shame. So I'm glad they're back. Let's go over to our main review of this episode, which is Devara.
అసలెవరు వాళ్ళంతా కులం లేదు మతం లేదు భయం అసలే లేదు ధైర్యం తప్ప ఏమీ తెలియని కళ్ళల్లో మొదటిసారి భయం పొరలు కమ్ముకున్నాయి ఎవరు చేశారు ఇదంతా సానా పెద్ద కథ సామి రక్తంతో సంద్రమే ఇరుపెక్కిన కథ మా దేవర కథ
That was the trailer for Devara. It stars NTR Jr. and Jahnavi Kapoor and Prakash Raj.
And Saif Ali Khan.
Oh, Saif Ali Khan, obviously.
How could you remember his hair and not his name?
I was looking for what the name of his haircut is. That's why I got stuck.
Shitty. Shitty is that name.
So here's the IMDb plot summary. An epic action saga set against coastal lands which briefs about rip-roaring... What is this? Who wrote this? Emotionally charged incidents in the periodic timeline also comprises the titular protagonist being the rescuer to deprived and fair to evildoers. Oh, dude, whoever wrote this, whoever approved this on IMDb...
ChatGPT.
Yeah, no, this is not even ChatGPT. The ChatGPT is even better than this. So anyway, shame on you, whoever wrote this and made me read this out. Yes, so we all saw this movie. I don't know, did we have high expectations going in? Like, where were you? Like, it was just like the big release. There's not much going on, so we thought we'll cover it, right? That's basically what happened.
I guess, like, this is a movie we can't necessarily ignore because this is like the big release of the season. There is literally no other bigger movie that is out. They spent like a ton of money in the making of this, and the promotions were everywhere. Jahnavi Kapoor is dancing, and like, yeah,
it's already made a ton of money.
Yeah.
But I think also the movie is kind of critic proof, so it feels like, you know, like it doesn't really matter what we, you know, talk about here. But Amrita, what were your thoughts about Devara?
There was a point where I had gone to watch this before work, on like the morning of Friday, and then I took a friend along with me, and I remember like being in the auto coming back home and thinking, wow, I just watched that movie and I don't even get paid for it. But at least I'm doing it for a purpose. But why did my friend come with me? Like, she must really be my friend. Like, she really likes me to have like spent 3 hours of her life watching it. But it was, I don't know, like there were things in it that I sort of appreciated, I guess. And then there were things that were unintentionally funny. And then there was like a whole bunch of things that were just plain boring, right?
Right.
But I do appreciate the fact that the movie opens with this really badly made, like 1980s graphics tribute to NTR.
It goes on
And
for a long time. Like it just
yeah,
like, and then the sun is behind his head, and then the
yeah.
angels start singing. I was like, wow.
And it's basically NTR is Jesus, and it is the most like it's like a 5-year old with Photoshop from like 1985 made it. Like that's the level of effort that's gone into this. And but you can see that they were very serious about it. They were like, yeah, like, like this guy's awesome. We need to do this. And it immediately told you what kind of movie you're gonna watch. Like
It's
immediately.
it's funny, Amrita, because I think you and me both do this, and I think it's like people come with their sincerity on a platter, and we just make fun of it because we're just like such ironic and poison. Like Sujoy is a nice person. You and me will just go at it like, "Ye kya kar raha hai, it's so
I,
bad.
I also see that sincerity. Who is that for? Because I watched that movie in an audience full of that expectation, where they were shouting JNTR, JNTR whenever anything happened on screen, right? So it's hilarious that this movie is like exactly made for the fan service that these fans crave for, and they lapped it up like I don't know, man. It's just like one of
But
those Baba Ram Rahim, whatever. It's that level of filmmaking. It's that.
but that also ends up hurting the movie in so many ways, right? Like
Hmm.
you could see that this movie was designed to be Tarak's Bahubali.
Yeah.
Like that is the entire, like the way, it's not the same story, but that is the entire arc of it, right?
Hmm.
Like in a kingdom far away, there is a father, there is a son, and the son has to take up his father's mantle. Like that is very much a Bahubali story. Um, but when you make a movie that is 100% fan service, and it really is. It's just like NTR Jr. walking in slow motion from like one
Hmm.
one place to the other. But when you make a movie like that, then the it comes with certain limitations because when you're the biggest thing on screen, and I've said this before for Salman Khan movies as well, or the Salman
Hmm.
Khan movies that he's been making of late, when you're the guy that is untouchable, when you're supposed to be so above every other human being that you meet over the course of the story, then there is no story arc or character graph for your character to experience. So it's a
Yeah.
very flat note storytelling. So in this one, for example, NTR cannot be touched by anybody else. So they might fight like Saif Ali Khan and he have like this big fight and everything, but he cannot be defeated by someone else.
Yeah.
Even when he is drugged and like, like unconscious, he still comes to life and like fights off like 50 people and like kills them all. So when you have a character like that, then what are the stakes of this film? Like there was no point in the film where I was worried for this character or that I was invested in whether or not this character is going to survive or his struggles, because there was no struggle. It was like this guy will come, he'll like beat them up and he'll win.
I think that's why then the movie relies so heavily on their twists and reveals
Hmm.
because there is no arc. So the only reveal or surprise can be the twist or the ending. The way there's a few twists in this movie and like changes in the narrative where they actively want to do something different than Bahubali. I feel right,
Hmm.
but. Well, I mean, we'll get into that a little bit. I want to talk about that. But I think what you're saying is kind of linked to that because the character arc is not there. So you have to add some dramatic weight by adding these twists and reveal.
And to be honest, the twists and reveals didn't really work for me because I knew it like from like it was just telegraphed to me like really,
Yeah.
because it was just a matter of logic, right? Like if you cannot be defeated by anybody, then who's going to defeat you?
Yeah.
And also that entire thing of like the son who is always angry about his dad, and he's always talking about like, oh, like my dad, like he'll never come back, blah blah blah. It was just telegraphing ahead of time that, and we're going to be talking about spoilers, by the way, so if people don't want spoilers, then this is the point where you should leave. But it telegraphed to me like very early on that the dad was dead. And then at the end, when we see like, that it was the kid who killed his dad, was that supposed to be like a Katappa? Like, why did Katappa kill
Yeah,
Bahubali kind of a thing?
100%. That's what they were setting it up
Yeah.
to be. Yeah,
Except
100%.
it's not a mystery to me, is it? Like, it's not a mystery to anybody who can spend like 2 seconds thinking critically about are you? Do you think like the kid wanted to go kill his dad, whom he hero worships? No, like his dad was the one who like set that whole thing up. Like, it's not really like, I don't think there's any mystery either in this movie or the next.
I think my main problem is that I don't care either way. That's
Yeah,
that's
that
my
too.
problem. Like, it's not that there. I know there's a reveal coming, but the reveal is so weak that the characters, the mythology that they try to create is so weak that it doesn't matter. I don't care at that moment, I think. And I think, but I want to go back to just kind of the experience of watching this movie, because I was thinking about it and I realized when I was walking in theater with our good friend Papu Charu, that I'd never seen a Telugu movie with a Telugu crowd. I realized while I was sitting, because even Bahubali was a Tamil dub. It didn't where I'm living. It was never in Telugu, which was a thing, but it wasn't. Watching a Telugu movie with a Telugu crowd, and now we get them, so we can go and watch them. And it was really interesting because these people were like fully on board, right? They were like, they had confetti. They were checking our bags going in, which has never happened. And I was like, wow, are they looking for knives or what are they doing exactly? Because there's been fights in London theaters about these Telugu movies and things like that, because people are so passionate about them. And people were screaming, hollering, shooting the entry and the stuff. But after a while, even the crowd just kind of went quiet. Like, there were moments where like even the crowd wasn't feeling it, and then they would try to get it back going when a fight scene happened or like some shot was kind of cool. Tariq riding a shark, or he cuts somebody and then the blood makes a circle of the moon.
Yes.
The moon
And
crescent. Yeah.
they love that. That was like, this is the shit. This is why we paid our ticket, Pesa Vasool. But those were like very far and few between. So I don't know if even the crowd that was fully on board was feeling it as much as I think they expected it. But I think also they're so in love with this that it won't matter. They'll be like, it's still fine, it's good, we had a good time, and that's great for them.
I think that's what they keep repeating to themselves just to
Yes.
justify the devotion that they have. It's that
Yeah.
andhabhakti, no? It's
Yeah.
just that they have to justify their blind faith in this larger than life off screen and on screen, the parasocialism that we talk about. It's that NTR exists in both these worlds, and it doesn't matter whether he's playing Devara or he's being Tarak in real life. It's that whole combination of that persona that they worship, whether it's on screen or off screen, and they totally believe in that he can slice people up with X's and make the moon crescent with blood, and that's hero worship for them,
Yeah.
And I
And
don't get that.
The other thing that I also noticed is that I've not seen many NTR movies. Like, I've literally seen Bahubali, and this is maybe the
RRR.
second or
RRR.
RRR, and I've seen another one, the Simba
Yeah.
original Temper, and I think I watched 20 minutes of that and then I gave up. And then I've seen some dubbed Hindi version on Z or whatever, like the gold mine that I seen. So the thing is, and it's hard to watch a movie like that because there's so much hero worship, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't understand what the kind of shortcuts to stardom are of this star, like, I was like, what makes people love this guy? And I don't know. Is it because he's a dancer? Is he good at action? Is he good at like a dramatic performance? I couldn't figure it out by watching Devara.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
And remember when we were watching Kanur Squad, and I was probably one of my first Mammootty movies, like one of the first, and I was like, first shot, I knew who this man is. He's such a star, and he's literally not doing anything. Devara, I couldn't figure it out. Honestly, I couldn't figure out what like. And I get it. Like if I drag some friend to Salman Khan's Kick and say this is Salman, right? They wouldn't get it necessarily, right? And I'm in that position where I'm not getting it necessarily. So
I think
I'm
that's what, like, the Devara only serves as a hero worship fan service movie. It rides on the pre-existing fandom that his library of movies brought before it, right?
Yeah.
It's just that this is more of it, new material. But is it really new material? It's just old wine in a new bottle, in a way. It doesn't necessarily provide anything new for Tarak fandom, in a way. It's just like new footage, I suppose.
Yeah, because there's a few moments where he's fighting and then he slides back on one knee and he's like looking up. And I was like, is this his move? Is this the thing that he does and people go crazy? Is this like Salman taking off a shirt? Is this his thing?
Yeah.
But it didn't. I don't know what it was. Like I was really trying to gauge the reaction of the crowd to enjoy it or like figure out what it is, but I couldn't. But just generally, I kind of enjoyed this movie. Like I didn't like either. It seems to be very polarizing. Like either the fandom really loves it and it's the greatest thing ever, and the critics seem to hate it because it's terrible. And it's like, I thought it was fine. Like maybe I was coming in with low expectations. I thought I had a pretty good time watching it for 3 hours. But I also feel like when the logo drops, exclusive streaming partner Netflix, immediately my mind goes like, I'll watch the second part at home. It's fine. Like. There's not. I don't feel the movie justifies its runtime, like 3 hours or whatever it is. There's not enough story there, and the story is defined. I've also found it very jarring that this movie was set in current times or like 96.
Yes.
I found that really jarring because that village is like such a. First of all, that village is never really defined. I don't understand these 4 tribes. I don't understand what makes them different or distinct.
So that was one of the things that really stood out to me, because to me, again, that it just comes back to that whole idea that this was just supposed to be their Bahubali. Like it wasn't so much that they had an idea or a story that they wanted to bring to screen. They basically just had an ambition that they needed to realize.
I think they wanted it to be the Bahubali, but didn't have the costume budget. So then a part of the period piece has to be set in modern times when they can wear shirts and trousers and shitty haircut, right? And so they just ran out of ideas.
And Sujoy had this tweet, like a hit tweet, where he was talking about like ye flashback. Khatam nahi hota bhe.
Yeah.
I forgot that the movie was a flashback. I was like, why is this guy even there? I'd forgotten by that
There's
time.
a flashback within the flashback, and then dream sequences within the flashback that Prakash Raj knows about Tarak and Janhvi Kapoor dancing to a song on the beach. I'm like,
it just goes on for, like at one point I literally turned to my friend and I was just like, I can't believe we're still in the flashback. Like, when will this end? Like, it doesn't end.
That's the thing. When you're in a village, there's not much going on. It's like, that's why everybody knew Janhvi had a dance with.
Asim is a one-issue voter when it comes to villages.
Destroy all villages. Urbanize that crap. Get us Wi-Fi.
So, have we talked about Janhvi, by the way?
Oh, shall we talk about Saif first?
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about Saif. By the way, Prakash Raj, why before Saif, Prakash Raj, why doesn't he even look people into the eyes when he's telling a story? Why is he like always like looking at the stars? Like annoyed me.
He cannot recite the lines. He can't remember them. He's just looking at a dialogue
standing
sheet.
with big words like that. Ye pad lo, like Marlon Brando. But yeah, Saif Ali Khan, because I thought he did quite well. Like, and I think I was reading Baddie's review or watching it, and he's like, he's very ill-fitting. And I think at the start, he does feel a bit weird, especially in the dance sequences, because it's not like Saif's vibe.
Yeah.
But maybe it's just us projecting that this is not Saif's vibe, and he's just like a good actor. I thought he did well.
For me, I couldn't get over the voice.
Right.
because that voice is such a, like, we know what Saif Ali Khan sounds like. Okay, like
Rani.
there's just
Rani.
exactly
Janhvi!
there is just
Wow.
no way that I am going to listen to that like deep bass, like baritone voice come out of Saif's face and be like, oh yeah, that sounds like Saif. No, I'm sorry, but that is not that just absolutely, like, his voice is too unique.
हम
It
केक
just
खाने के लिए कहीं भी जा सकते हैं.
Rani. I think it's just not gonna work.
Yeah.
But and also, but I did appreciate that he, like he is
He
building
went
his
for it.
own, yeah, like
He
his,
went for it, right?
yeah, with the kajal and the perm and
Yeah.
everything. And also I really enjoy Seth wearing a lungi. Like, I'm like all about it. I'm like, yeah, you should do that.
That's the
But
thing. Okay.
it was funny when but it was funny when, like, when Tarak is like dancing and then Seth is also trying to do those same moves, and I'm just like, oh honey, no.
Yeah.
You should have,
Yeah.
you should have sprained your ankle or something. Like,
Yeah.
that's not a thing.
Yeah. So, yeah, what do you think of Safe?
Yeah, he turned it up to 11, man. He
Yeah.
is like, paisa do, then I will do the Nach Tamasha,
Yeah.
he did it. And
Mm.
like, the bronzer is working well. He's looking fit, man. And I'm happy for him. But
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't know if he belongs in this movie in a way. Like, I don't buy the Nawab being a villager in a way. He doesn't look poor, is what I'm saying.
Well, you mentioned last time Langrat
Langra
Tyagi, right?
Tyagi, yeah. I don't think.
You didn't buy him then either?
No, I bought
Really?
Langra Tyagi. I
Oh.
bought definitely Langra Tyagi. This I don't, in a
Hmm.
way.
Which is
Okay.
funny because even in Lal Kaptan, like, I bought him in that
About
character as well.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. So it's maybe the filmmaker or the treatment than his performance, right? How do you, so do I compare him with him in Kalki then? No, not Kalki, the other one. What was that CGI Pravas movie where he was the villain?
Oh,
Oh, Adi Purush.
Yeah,
yes.
because that's also like a different vibe, and I think a lot of people were saying Safe was the best part of that movie too, right?
What?
I've hardly like.
Was best and Adipurush and ever in the same sentence? Or those words?
Who are these people and
Like,
what shit did they
thing,
say?
it's a guitar thing, and his fingers start bleeding in the heavy metal. People like that. I remember that.
I've made so much effort into forgetting that movie. I don't want to go down that lane to try and remember how Steph was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Saif was great in this. Like, I really liked him. Maybe it was because Saif was my anchor in this movie because I was like completely lost at sea.
Oh, lost at sea, were you?
Yeah.
Did Aquaman come and find you?
lost, at, lost at Red Sea.
Which was also confusing. Geography confuses me. I was like, wait, Red Sea? That's not there. But anyway.
For a movie that was like all about fan service, I can't believe they did NTR Jr. dirty like that, because I guess, like, I guess there's very few ways that you can make swimming look heroic.
Yeah.
But their choice was to turn him into Dolphin Man, and I was
Yeah.
like, why? Why did you do that to him?
Yeah, and because there's a few times he comes out of the water and the hair is just like
Yes.
flat on his thing. It's like, that does not look good. That looks like, why am I so focused on hair anyway? But anyway,
I mean, they literally do the wig reveal
Yeah, yeah.
as the sort of big, twist in the story, and the wig is so bad.
The wig budget in this movie is lacking. Like, all
Yeah.
the wigs are bad. Like, it's really bad.
But
it's like,
coming back to the shark thing, right? The lasso and the riding the shark. That's going to become one of those, things that white people are going to be discussing on Reddit forums. That's going to become the gif of the century. It's like
yeah,
that catapult moment from Bahubali that's become like, oh, this Indian movie where they catapult people into the tower.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, he already had the tiger, deer, and thing from RRR, right? Like,
Yeah.
so he's just gonna do like other animals. Like, what's like next time is eagle? Like, what are we doing? But yeah, I think Saif was great in this. I liked him a lot. I just had problem with the storytelling and stuff like that, because these villages never make sense to me. The life there didn't make sense to me. Like, what's happened in these 12 years?
Yeah.
Saif has raised this army of guys that want to kill Devara, but he just killed like 50,000 men before that. So what are these 12 men going to do? I don't understand it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and they
I
really.
also I also really appreciated that they ripped off the Sachin story from Sholay, where he's like गांव से
Hmm.
पढ़ने के लिए बच्चा जा रहा है, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
like
yeah.
the bandits come and like murder, and like
Yeah.
And
I was
just for
like,
that one kid, Tarak goes around killing 50. Yeah. Hero logic.
And then also there's also the thing about these villagers having these weapons that they love, and then there's a competition, and like there's so many of these things, elements in there, but I never really get what happens. Like, they win the weapons
And then
and
what?
nothing happens. Like, what
Yeah.
about, it's not like Lagan that it starts raining in the villages or something like that, right? Like, so I was like, what was even the
It's like
point of
an
that?
omen that, good omen, if they win the throne of weapons, I guess, then that brings prosperity in
But
the
show the
village.
prosperity then,
Yeah.
no? Show
Everybody's
something. Like,
poor.
exactly. There's no, like, it's just a scam, it feels like. I don't know what the whole point then was of this endeavor, right? Speaking of the point of this endeavor, Janhvi Kapoor is also in this movie
for
For
7
12
minutes.
minutes.
for 12 to 7 minutes. I think she is the best part of this movie.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, good. We agree. I think she's great. And speaking of voice, Amrita, that's why I wanted to talk about Safe first. I think what doesn't work for Safe works really well for Janhvi here. Because I think a lot of the criticism that people have about Janhvi is about her voice modulation, the way she speaks. And I think it's because you take that out, her performance stands kind of on her own, and I think it kind of worked. Like, I think it, like, the dubbing for her worked better because her original voice. Well, I don't have a problem with Janvi's voice, but a lot of people do. So I think maybe that kind of worked. I thought she was funny. I thought the whole eruption innuendo was really funny. I want a man to make me erupt and overflow, which I thought was really, really funny. And then her dance is really good. I think she looks bloody amazing. Like, I couldn't see anybody else on screen except her. So that's what makes a star, right? So all.
I think she and Tarak are both like really good at comedy. Like even Tarak, when like he captures that shark and he brings it in, and like he immediately gives the game away.
Yeah.
He's like pretty funny in those scenes, like where he's not burdened by performing for his fans. And the scenes with Janhvi, like Janhvi was funny. Janhvi was
Yeah.
very funny in this film. And she was gorgeous. She was like absolutely gorgeous. And I've seen people talk about like the logic behind that character. Like, are you saying that there's like like a woman in her mid-20s in a village somewhere that hasn't gotten married yet, blah blah blah? I'm like, this is not a movie where that kind of logic has any place. Like, you just roll with it.
Yeah.
I also like the fact that she knew she was hot, which is something that I
Yeah.
really appreciate in female characters. Like, she's like, I know how hot I am. I'm gonna mess up everybody's like prospective grooms. Like,
I did not expect that was going to be her arc, and also the
yeah,
fact that even as a child, that particular character,
Yeah.
that character has a little bit of an arc. Like, she's
yeah,
she's an instigator
yeah,
from like
yeah,
day one.
yeah.
And I just literally like burst out laughing when she's like talking about like how Vara isn't like as manly and violent as she likes as she'd want her man to be. And then she was just like, should I wait for his dad to come back and then marry
Yeah,
him
yeah.
instead? And all her friends start screaming at her. And I was like, I miss this kind of character. Like, this is like a very 80s character,
Yeah.
80s early 90s character.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of miss that kind of a female lead.
Yeah.
And actually, who was like really good at playing characters like this? Sridevi.
I was gonna say, I thought it reminded me a lot of Sridevi, weirdly enough, this role.
Yeah.
And in a in a subtle way. Like, you need to know Sri Devi's work to kind of have that kind of energy. And they didn't make it like an overt kind of, like, oh, there's no Chandni playing when she's bathing in the background kind of thing, right? Like that kind of thing. But I thought that energy was what it reminded me of in a good way. So yeah. So yeah, what did you think of Janhvi?
She was good. She was good. She was good, man. Like the audience went nuts during that her intro scene.
Camera went up, like cameras were like everywhere when she was doing her thing. Yeah,
and like that's the whole Telugu audience viewing experience, right? The mobile phones will be out and when anything happens of significance on screen, and that happened in the Janhvi scenes, especially the Chuttamalai song. What a song! Probably one of the few enjoyable moments of this movie.
The songs generally I thought were okay. Like, I like them. Like, the Janhvi one is the best one, but I even like the war song that they had with Saif in it. That thing, I thought it doesn't reach the levels of other kind of these songs that we've seen.
Yeah,
but and it's Anirudh, right, who did the music. Yeah. So, but I think the standout song is the Janhvi song, to be honest. Yeah. So, any other points we forgot about Devara that we want to talk about?
I was just thinking about like what you said about how you enjoyed this film, and somebody on Twitter had a tweet up which said, sometimes in life you just want to watch a 7 on 10 movie, and that's what Devra was for them. And I see it, I see it.
Yeah. But I still wouldn't rate it 7 out of 10 though. That's being very generous.
6.5.
Yeah.
One thing I had, I don't know how to say this on a podcast where people so many listens, that I'll try to do it gently. There's something, men screaming for a man on screen at a certain point. At a certain point, you lose all semblance of manliness. I don't like. There's like a moment where like, "Aram se bhai, baith ja tu." And I know Telugu crowd is like all into like machismo and like men are men, women are women. But my dude, calm the F down. Like, you're losing anything of semblance of, I don't know. Maybe I'm old school, maybe I'm an uncle, call me whatever. And this is not about gender roles or anything. Scream the way you want, man. But then, like, I don't know. It just like some of these screams are very high pitched. I'm just like, it says, yeah.
I just want to point out that this is very funny coming from a Salman Khan fan.
I don't scream like that. I do not. There's like, even for Salman, I will not scream like that. But I will dance to what was that Billy Billy song? I will dance to Billy Billy song because my Billy tells me to do the Billy Billy song, so I'll do that. But yeah, it's just like a lot of these screams were so high pitched. I was like, man, like, wow, okay. We've left testosterone outside of the door when you came in. So anyway, just that funny thought when I was surrounded by screaming men. Yeah, Devra Part 2. Anybody excited for it? Do you want to know why he got killed? Who killed him? Like, his son killed him? Why his son killed him? I really don't care. I really don't care. Any of the reveals. So there were a few of them, right? So there was, now we're reading the end, so I wanted to kind of get into the spoiler alert a bit. But so there's that his son kills him. He's the one that's killed him. That he's dead. That's another reveal, right? What else is there? There's another one I saw somewhere.
And that the son is portraying the father in the many cameos.
Yeah. So
he's the one who is haunting the village or Bhaira's men.
Yeah. All of them. I was not. Nothing mind-boggling. Nothing that made me see, I really want to see what happens next. I also don't feel like this movie needs a second part. They could have probably wrapped it all up in 1 3.5 hour movies like they did. I know they wasted a lot of time, like, I feel, with these whole weapon thing and these 4 villages, and like all of the men suck in this village anyway, like, like, and then the other one, like, there was this one moment where they say, oh, his village only rows the boat. and that's why he should get the weapons. I was like, what do the other people then do? Like, like, are they
Yeah.
all like pirates? Why did they become pirates? Like, and then why do they suddenly, like, it also, that doesn't make sense. They're pirates. They didn't think where these weapons are going. Like, suddenly now, because Sachin has died, now you figure out that these weapons are used, and then now I'm going to kill everybody that is doing it. Like, all of those things, like, even Devara didn't seem like a nice guy. Like,
So that was one thing that I kind of appreciated, which is that. So I started watching a lot of Telugu like action movies starting in the early 2000s, and at that point there was definitely a shift in how they were portraying gangsters, right? Like they
Mhm.
were showing people who were doing illegal things, but it was cool because they were cool as they did those things, like
Like
they,
KGF, basically.
like,
Yeah.
they're bad guys doing bad things, but because they've got swag, it's okay.
Yeah.
And I appreciated that Devra in this film had a conscience. He refuses to glamorize what he and his friends are doing to his son. And he basically says that, like, when his son asks him, for like stories of like what he is doing, he says, like, I'm basically just, I'm basically ruining the name of the village, is what I'm doing. And there is nothing that we have done that ought to go in the history books. I appreciated that this movie was making that morality very clear. And I did not expect that in a
Mm.
movie like this. And that was a pleasant surprise. No.
No, it's
No.
gone the same Salar and all of those route for me. Like, I don't care for where the story goes. I'll probably watch if it drops on streaming. But having said that, if they were to release it in a year or two, we'll be like, yeah, we'll go, because there's nothing else
Mm.
releasing at the cinemas, so why not?
I don't think it's that bad as Salar and KGF or even Kalki, like all of the Pravaz movies. Basically, I think this is much better than all of them. But it's still not good. It's not Pushpa, right? Pushpa is the one that I would say, like, I'm excited to see
Yeah.
part 2 of that. And also, just Pushpa just seems like a coherent movie. Like, it's just like a
Yeah.
full movie. It is a part 1, but it's like
Yeah.
an entire story. Here, it doesn't feel that way, you know. And I'm kind of tired of this mode of storytelling where they're already like, we've not shot part 2, we'll see, but this is the first part, and I don't know. I don't think it's working for Indian cinema to do it this way. But yeah, that's our review of Devra. Let us know if you liked it, if you were completely, if you missed something, or we don't understand the magic here of this kind of movie. Also, recommend me other movies with NTR Jr. Like, is there something that I should watch that is good, that is available also, because a lot of his work doesn't seem available, because I don't get the star power necessarily. But yeah, Amrita, where can people?
I also want to point out that it was interesting that on the day of the premiere, NTR Jr. wasn't in India. He was at the Fantastic Fest in the United States at an event being moderated by our Twitter mutual, Josh.
Oh, really? That was it? Okay.
Yeah. So he showed up with his American accent, for which he got trolled very badly during the promotions for RRR. And he said, "You know what? I'm going to double down on that." So
Nice.
you can
You
take your
should. I think
accent.
it's good. Accent switching is good. People should do it. It's fine. It's fine.
And I've already seen like a whole bunch of like white critics being like, "Oh my god, this movie is amazing." So it's
Amazing.
working.
Love it. Chuna lagao goron ko. I'm
Yes,
all for it. All for
all
it.
for it.
Amrita, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at AmritaIQ. And a little later in this week, you can also watch our video essay about Kareena Kapoor Khan, which is called The Last Bollywood Diva.
Sujoy?
You can find me on all my socials at 9E3K, and you can follow Khandaan Podcast on all socials at Khandaan Podcast.
I'm going to be on the BBC this Friday with our friend Haroon and Nikita. We're going to be discussing the ultimate 90s songs and playlists. So, you know what I'll do after this? On Patreon, I'll drop my list or our list in a way, the ones that we picked. I don't want to do it before the show comes out. So if you're on Patreon, you can see what we actually selected from the best 2000 songs that we like the most.
Is it the 90s or the 2000s?
2000 this time.
Right.
The 90s was in June when I was also there. But this is the 2000s. So if you're in the UK, you can tune in on BBC Asian Network, listen to us live. I think it's going to be from 9 till 11 or 12 or something like that. I'll be making a short appearance. I'm not there for like the whole time. I can't do that. But otherwise, it's also going to be available on Sounds, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I think I've also recorded some other episodes for BBC. So I don't know when they're dropping, but I am on the BBC a few times. Otherwise, I'm always on Khandaan. We're on TikTok. Drop us an email at youpodcasting@gmail.com. And thank you for listening. Our next episode will be Bazi.
Khandaan.